What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Blitz Fantasy Football. I'm Ryan Linkletter, aka Blitz Link, and I'm here with a few of my fellow Blitz friends here. And we got Steven, Danny, and Nick, and we're talking wide receiver tiers for you guys today. Obviously, with the preseason coming up, you got some games tonight that are going to be very interesting to watch. But we're going to go through rank our top 36 wide receivers heading into the drafts, and these are going to be for PPR formats. So those of you guys in standard and half PPR could be valued a little bit differently, but this is for PPR. So let's get right into this. And we have our top 36 players here on this list. As you guys can see, a bunch of jersey numbers, a really nice job here on Tier Maker. And I'll just start with Danny. Danny, who is the first guy in S tier that we're going to place there?
Jamar. I mean, off a triple crown. What more can you ask for from a guy? Defense is going to be awful again this year. They're probably going to have to pass the ball. I mean, they got everybody back in the offense. They should be clicking on all cylinders again this year, and they're going to score points in that division. I mean, they got to beat the Ravens if they want to win the division and have a chance to go deep in the playoffs. And you got to score points against the Ravens, especially with that defense.
Yeah, I mean, listen, the Bengals defense, let's just say it's not going to be great once again this year. They're going to have to rely on Trey Hendrickson and Shamar Stewart to basically carry the team. And both of them aren't necessarily the most happy with the front office. So we'll see if that defense is any good. We all know Burrow and Chase, one of the best duos in the league. Chase at 101 feels like a lock at this point. I could understand if you go Bijan, personal preference, but Jamar Chase is the best overall fantasy football player that you could draft this year. Steven, I'm going to hand it off to you. Who else deserves to be an S tier, or is Jamar Chase in a tier himself?
I think the only other, I mean, you can put a few guys in the S tier, but a guy that I would say is on his list is another LSU guy, their wide receiver university. That's Justin Jefferson. I mean, the guy's a stud. He's right up there talent wise with Jamar Chase. They're on a tier of their own in the NFL. Fantasy terms, I'm not worried. Kevin O'Connell, he is just a passing game guru. So rookie quarterback doesn't scare me at all. I think J.J. McCarthy is going to live up to his first round billing, which means Justin Jefferson's going to produce massive fantasy numbers. So I think he belongs right there next to Chase.
Yeah, listen, Justin Jefferson's a dog. Let's just say that. Like, he's on a Antonio Brown type start to his career in fantasy football. Wasn't for injury, this guy would be having wide receiver 1 through 3 production every single year. And it doesn't matter who's at quarterback. He's basically played with Josh Dobbs. He's played with Kirk Cousins, right? He played with Sam Darnold last year. He's going to get J.J. McCarthy this year. And none of those guys are necessarily of the tier of the elite guys. And Justin Jefferson continues to have elite production year in and year out. Doesn't have Addison to start the year too, so could receive a little bit more love here in drafts. I'm going to hand it off to you, Nick. Another guy in the S tier. Who is it?
I think it's, in my opinion, the last guy in the S tier, and that's CeeDee Lamb. I mean, these three guys alone are three guys that I'm putting up on the board as 1, 2, 3 because they need to prove that they can't handle it. So far, every year they've gone out, they've given me solid production. They've helped me win leagues consistently. That's what you're asking from a wide receiver 1, especially in fantasy. So CeeDee Lamb, I understand that he's got the extra target now with George Pickens and Dak Prescott. But to be honest, if you're throwing to anybody, if you need to get a ball, you need to get it past the 10-yard line, you're throwing it to CeeDee Lamb, period.
Yeah, listen, the interesting part about CD is the fact that he honestly wasn't at his ceiling last year. Like, the injuries to Dak and his chemistry with Dak just wasn't very good. He'll be in for positive touchdown regression this season. The touchdowns just weren't there, but his usage was still incredibly good. And CeeDee Lamb's still going to have a top 5 usage in the NFL at the receiver position. George Pickens is only going to help him, not hurt him, with another viable receiver next to him. Last year, no viable options at running back, receiver, whatever it was. So CeeDee Lamb or nothing for the Dallas Cowboys. It will be much better for him, and he'll be much more efficient this year. Off to me now. I think I'm ending the S tier, and I think that especially with the news of Matthew Stafford's back, I'm a little bit concerned about these Rams pass catchers just a little bit more. And taking Puka as an S tier guy, I would have probably last week. This week, not so much, but he's still an A tier type player. Puka Nacua, when he is on the field, just produces. Like, there's nothing else to say it. No, he's not the flashiest guy. No, he's not going to run by you. But I mean, this guy's good for 8 catches, 10 targets a game, 80 plus yards, and a touchdown. Like, his production with Stafford on the field is so fun to watch. And it was like what we watched with Cooper Kupp before Nacua got there. I mean, it's just, I love watching Puka Nacua play football. And every time he's on the field, he is just a walking nightmare for defenses. What do you guys think of Puka?
He's so fun to watch. I mean, you nailed it. He's very reminiscent of when Cooper Kupp was there with Stafford, and we know that Stafford, he has his favorite target, and he will feed him the ball, and that's what we're seeing with Puka now. I mean, it seems like every game that he's healthy, him and Stafford are out there. Puka's getting a minimum of 10 targets a game. So if you're getting a minimum of 10 targets a game, you're going to dominate in fantasy.
Oh, for sure.
100%.
He's prime Chris Carter at this point. I mean, he's getting the ball and he's blowing up, not only in fantasy, but with this team. I mean, even with Devontae Adams there, that's not taking away from his target share, most likely. He's still going to get 100-plus balls, no problem.
Yep.
Yeah, and he does a good job of actually getting open too. And when he doesn't get open, he's very good at contested catches too, and he thrives on that. And that just fires up the offense even more.
All right, Danny. Another player in A tier. Who are you putting with Puka?
Let's go with Malik Neighbors right here.
Let me go find him for you. Why don't you talk about why you think Neighbors is up there?
170 targets last year with quarterbacks he had. I mean, there's upgrades already with Russell Wilson or even Jameson or even Jackson Dart if he gets some starts later in the season. Those are quality upgrades compared to last year's group they had there. His downfield target, average wasn't as good, probably what should be as a number one receiver, but with those guys, they'd be able to stretch the field a little bit down the field last year with what they had in quarterbacking last year. So I believe his numbers will just improve this year and still get the targets too.
Yeah, listen, he led the NFL in target share, but his ADOT wasn't great. Listen, I don't know if he's going to lead the NFL with I think it was 31.4% target share last year. Like, that's absurd. If he regresses to 28%, let's say they utilize Wan'Dale Robinson a little bit more, Darius Slayton more, it's only going to help his efficiency numbers. And I think him not being healthy in the second half of the year was honestly hurt him potentially being the wide receiver 1 overall last year and bad quarterback play. So Russell Wilson will provide the stability. So I'm interested to see what we get out of Malik Neighbors in year 2. Definitely not a bad option there. I think it was Steven that's next. Steven, who are you going with in A tier, or are we moving on?
So far, we've gone in my exact order of how I have these guys ranked. So I'll go with my next guy on the list, and I think he deserves right there in that A tier with these guys. And these A tier guys, they're just picking straws. I'm going to put Nico Collins here. He's my number 6 ranked wide receiver. And you can make the argument that he could go higher. You can take any of these guys in the A tier after the S tier. So, I mean, Nico Collins, he was fantastic last season when he was on the field. That was the only issue, was he got banged up and missed some games. And that's why his numbers don't jump off the page like some of the other guys that we're ranking right now. But on a game-to-game, per-game basis, Nico Collins' numbers were right up there in that S tier category. So if he gets a full season of being healthy and on the field with CJ Stroud, he's a guy that we could be looking at as a league-winning pick in the back end of the first round.
Yeah, and I think the Texans are going to have to pass more this year, right? Joe Mixon not being potentially the same player, even playing this year, is a major concern for me. And they added Jaden Higgins, they added Jalen Noel, they added Christian Kirk. The receiver depth is strong in Houston right now. The backfield, not so much. And Woody Marks is a receiving back mostly. Nick Chubb, probably early down guy there if Mixon misses time. So I think the passing game in Houston should be a little bit better than it was last year. And Nico Collins is a guy that just didn't regress at all, despite the entire Houston offense regressing. So you have to feel really good about him maintaining his production from last year and potentially even exceeding it. Nick, who are you going with next in A tier, or are you moving on?
Oh, no, I think there's at least one more wide receiver for this A tier. And I'm going to be honest, this might be a little bit of a curveball for you guys, especially because I'm a Carolina Panthers fan. And we're going with Drake London. I mean, to be honest,
love
with
it.
Penix, I love the opportunity there. Those last few games with Penix, Drake London really had the opportunity to shine. I do think that Drake London is obviously a top 10 wide receiver. That's why I put him ahead of ASB. But I really think that everything that is going on in Atlanta is going to benefit him. Bijan is going to be able to open up, obviously, attack more of the box, get after him. So, Drake London is going to be open. Ray McLeod is going to be open. This is poised and ready for his year to truly cement himself and go from 1,200 yards and 9 touchdowns to 13, 14, and hopefully eclipse more than 10 touchdowns.
Yeah, listen, Drake London, I'll let you talk about him a little bit more here in a second, Danny. Drake London's target share last year with Michael Penix at quarterback was higher than Malik Neighbors, who led the league in target share. Very fascinating stat there. Danny, why do you love Drake London so much?
I have him actually currently 4th as my overall player right now. But I can see people shying away from him. But it's not only is it the targets that he got with Penix last year, but he's also a target in the red zone. I mean, if that offense starts clicking and be able to score points this year, and playing in that division where you never know what defense you're going to face week in, week out, he could put up some big numbers. He could put 15 touchdowns like it's nothing this year. Just the fact that he's got a competent quarterback, and with that offense being able, who you key on? Even with you got Mooney on the other side of him, and if Pitts would ever show up as a tight end, that offense could be very scary this year.
So
Absolutely.
you're telling us to draft Kyle Pitts? Is that what I
No,
just heard?
no, your internet stayed on, so that's a good thing.
Draft Kyle Pitts.
All right, I am going to close out our A tier here, and I'm throwing 2 more players in here. It feels criminal if we don't put these guys in here. I mean, guys, we all know I have a man crush for Brian Thomas Jr.
Brian,
Absolutely.
Brian Thomas Jr. has to go in there, and we cannot leave Amon-Ra St. Brown out of the A tier. I'm sorry, we just can't. Sure, he had a little bit of a decrease in production last year. He was the most targeted player on 3rd down or a key situation on 4th down in the NFL. Jared Goff is going to throw him the ball. He's going to be productive. Sure, I don't know if I'm taking him over Neighbors, BTJ, Puka. I think I have him at 11 right now, my overall ranking. So he's my wide receiver 7 right now overall. Like, I don't think Amon-Ra St. Brown has a wide receiver 1 overall ceiling like the guys I think we just mentioned, but he probably has one of the safer floors out of this entire group. The guy is going to be a walking 15 to 18 points every single week. He's the Lions' go-to option when they need it most. And the chemistry with Jared Goff is something we can't ignore. And then you got a guy like Brian Thomas Jr. I mean, I just have a man crush on him. I don't have to say much more. But BTJ is in for a monster year. You get Liam Cohen in there. Trevor Lawrence is going to get healthy. He broke out at the right time last year. Brian Thomas Jr. in for a big year. What do you think of our closing guys in A tier?
I think
like
St.
it.
Brown might not be the best wide receiver on his team this year.
Okay. All right. We're gonna need to pipe down there, Nick. That is an absurd take. I got to hear you out.
Jameson Williams was okay. First of all, this does come from a little bit of a homer place, but Jameson Williams was previously the wide receiver for my quarterback, Bryce Young. 1,000+ yards is what he can do in the NFL. And with ASB getting older, I think that Jared Goff can feed ASB. But I do think there's going to be scenarios where we're going to see guys like Jameson Williams truly take away the target share in a meaningful way. So I think that we're getting to the point where ASB is the creme de la creme, number 1 in the B category.
What if I told you that Amon-Ra St. Brown is 25 years old?
Oh, that's great.
He's still young.
How much tread does he have on the tires?
He's young, though. Like, just because he's had, like, a lot of productive years doesn't mean, like, he's going to fade. Yeah, like, sure, he's had a lot of wear and tear in the NFL. Last year was slight regression.
Has a ton of wear.
25 is the new 30.
1,000 yards.
Like, is that – I don't know if I've ever heard that.
I just don't see it. I truly don't, especially with the loss of Ben Johnson, especially with everything. Jared Goff is getting to the point where he's going to start regressing at some point. I mean, ASB at, what is this, 10 or 9? I don't know. I have him out of the top 10.
I don't know, Jim. All right, Brian Thomas Jr. though, boys, what are we thinking on him?
Oh, he's gonna be elite this season. I mean, he showed last year in his rookie year that he is a superstar. And you guys know when you just watch a rookie and they just pop for multiple weeks, and you're like, yeah, this guy's a stud. He's got it. He has that. And like the last time you see that, I saw it with Jamar Chase. You see it with Justin Jefferson, CeeDee Lamb. These guys just pop. Puka, the league neighbors, they just pop as a rookie. And Brian Thomas Jr. had that season last year. And you get Liam Cohen in there now and get Travis Hunter on the other side of him. I think the sky's the limit for Brian Thomas this year.
Nice. And plus, they've lost some of the target share, too, with Kirk being gone and Ingram being gone as well. And plus, he did a lot of his damage last year with Mac Jones. And we all know Trevor Lawrence is a better quarterback than Mac Jones.
100%.
I agree. Speaking of, real quick, did you know that Amon-Ra St. Brown had 50 more receptions, but only had 200 more yards than Jameson Williams last year?
Jameson Williams just can't get open like Amon-Ra St. Brown. They're completely different roles, though. Jameson Williams is a player that they were considering trading.
Oh, I remember. I wanted Carolina to get him so bad.
At a point this offseason, they were considering trading him because he's not their system. He is their home run hitter in their system. Amon-Ra St. Brown is their system.
So he's the Pickens to their CD.
he is.
He's the number 2. He's the number
He's
2.
the number 2. Like
High
he's
2. T Higgins
he's
level 2.
middle tier 2.
Okay.
He's okay. Like he does some things nice. Had a good year last year. Like, don't love him, don't hate him. Think he's solid player.
Upside maybe 16, 17 maybe wide receiver 2. Downside still probably about 24, 25. So right on that tier between 2 and 3. So I think he's still right there at that point. But Amon-Ra is just a beast. Watching the wide receivers program they had a couple years ago with on Netflix. He is a guy that you want on your team because he cares about playing and winning. And so that's one of those guys, and he's going to be he's a dog. He's going to be one of those guys you want on your team, and he's going to get open. He's going to make the plays.
Yeah. And I'm not saying I don't dislike him. He's still just in my top 10. He's just in that leading the B category for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, and let's get into that B category here. Who are we going to start B category off? Because I think there's one name we left out of A that genuinely has an argument for it. Who are we starting with here?
I think AJ Brown deserves his spot in the A category. You guys can tell me if I'm wrong. Maybe it's just the Eagles bias, but on a talent level, let's just take time out for fantasy football. If this was just a wide receiver talent production level, he belongs in that S tier with Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase. I think he's one of the most talented receivers. He can do it all. He can run the slants, get you a first down. He can play in the slot. He can play outside. He can go deep. He can contested catch. He can do everything. He gets separation like no other. Fantasy, he's on a run-first offense with Saquon Barkley and Jalen Hurts. So that does limit the touchdown upside, especially in the red zone, because they are going to run the ball 85% of the time in the red zone. But if you look back at A.J. Brown the past couple of seasons, especially before they had Saquon Barkley, he has stretches, like long stretches, where he is a wide receiver, like the number 1 overall wide receiver in fantasy, number 2 receiver. Like he's putting up insane stretches of just dominating targets, dominating yards, touchdowns every other week. And I think he's kind of getting he was hurt a little bit last year, so his numbers were down, so his overall ranking was down. If that bounces back or someone misses time like a Barkley after getting 300, 400-plus touches, and this offense has to run through the air, A.J. Brown's going to dominate this season and will skyrocket and be a value of where he's being picked.
Yeah, and I think it's not a talent question with Brown, like you mentioned. It's a volatility question with A.J. Brown. A.J. Brown's the type of guy the last few years where he has like those 3 really frustrating weeks, pisses you off as a fantasy manager. You get him for cheap, and then he just goes ballistic. Like that is the type of player A.J. Brown. He's the perfect, like, borderline A tier, B tier wide receiver in fantasy football because he can go win you a week by himself, but he's also the player that gets you 7 points in a week. And you're like, dude, I hate the Eagles for running the ball so much. Throw the ball to A.J. Brown. And then you see A.J. Brown throw a fit on the sideline and make a comment post-game. And then next week he goes for 170 and 2 touchdowns. You're like, why did I trade him for nothing? That is the A.J. Brown experience in fantasy football.
That's the Philadelphia Eagles passing offense experience.
Yeah, he had that one stretch 2 years ago where he was 125 yards in like 6 straight games or something. So he can do that. It's just the idea how they want to run the offense. With Saquon there, they want to run the ball. So it's the only thing that holds him back.
All right, we're going to get to the next player in B tier. It's Ladd McConkey, and I thought this was the guy that you guys were going to talk about. Ladd has wide receiver 1 overall upside. The question is, now the Chargers receiver room is a bit more crowded. Keenan Allen signed. We have KLS, making a name for himself in the preseason, right? They drafted Trey Harris as well. You have 2 running backs coming in. This Chargers offense does have a little bit of target competition, but that should not worry you at all about Ladd McConkey. Like Keenan Allen last year, we saw play more on the outside than he did in his previous years, which is good to see. Ladd McConkey is going to play in the slot a majority of the time, and that's where he excelled last year. They're not going to move him outside for an older Keenan Allen. They're going to let the young buck who dominated last year towards the end of the year stay in the slot. I am not worried about a Keenan Allen hurting him. If anything, I'm scooping him up more with people fading him.
Yeah, I have no problem. Them signing Keenan Allen actually, I think, helps Ladd a little bit and takes some pressure off of him being the main guy. And defenses will probably shade a little bit to Keenan Allen. I mean, yeah, Keenan's old, he's slowed down a little bit and stuff, but it's still the name, and defenses will have to prepare for him, let alone McConkey. Then you got the running backs. Then whenever Najee gets back from instead of walking laps and comes back from his eye injury. And Marion's going to be a quality running back in the NFL. So you got some. It's not going to be all concentrated on Ladd. They're going to be able to spread the ball around, but Ladd helps Ladd out more because he'll be able to make some bigger plays and get open. The better chance of getting open this year.
All right, so question for you guys. In our top 36 tiers right now, we are officially at the 10 mark. I don't know if there's another player in B with these two guys with A upside, but they're they're not like a C player. I feel like the guys behind them, I feel like they should be in their own tier. Do you guys agree?
I agree. I was going to say if we were going to put the next few guys in B, I was going to ask for this to be a B plus tier.
Yeah, it feels criminal. So let's start off with that C tier, and let's start off with Jamar Chase's teammate, T. Higgins, who's getting a lot of love in drafts right now. We know what we're going to get out of T. Higgins. He's going to be out for 3 to 4 weeks of the season. He's going to have a few duds. And he's also going to have those 45-point weeks. He's literally A.J. Brown, but a little bit more inconsistent and a little more injury prone. That's what you're getting out of T. Higgins. And like I mentioned earlier, the Cincinnati Bengals team is going to throw the ball just as much as they did last year. What do you guys love about T?
Everything. The upside, if anything ever happens to Chase, you know who's immediately wide receiver 1? T. Higgins. It's not even a question. And not only that, he could be wide receiver 1 on quite a few other teams. So the fact that you get him so late in the draft makes his value absolutely astronomical.
Yeah, 100%. Next player, who else do you guys want to throw in this tier?
Mike Evans.
Good. Very good. Very good. What do you love about Mike?
I mean, arguably one of the most consistent wide receivers we've had of the last, 20 years. I mean, he consistently puts up 1,000 yards, no matter who's throwing him the ball. Hopefully not Kyle Trask at any point, but as long as Baker's throwing him that ball, I truly think that Mike Evans is going to continue to be not only a red zone threat, but honestly just a deep threat. They have Emeka Egbuka now, who's probably going to play a decent amount in the slot as well. Chris Godwin is there, not really going to take a whole lot of target share. I truly think everything in the red zone for the most part is going to fall on him when it comes to a wide receiver.
Yeah, the offense runs through Mike Evans. Like he's the one interchangeable piece. Or I'm sorry, everybody else changes around Mike Evans. He's still there. And he's going to continue to produce. You can't doubt him at this point in his career. He just continues to put up 1,000-yard seasons. Doesn't have top 5 upside, but he is going to be a guy that has a high-end wide receiver 1 upside with a middle wide receiver 2 floor because you know what you're going to get out of Mike Evans. Who else should be thrown in this tier?
I think we should throw a guy who's been really growing on me the past couple of weeks, and that's Garrett Wilson of the Jets.
Nice.
The more I think about it, ever since he got that contract, it's just I think he's going to feast. He's in the perfect situation where there's nobody else who's going to take away targets from him. I could see like a Malik Neighbors type season last year where it's just a ridiculous target share. And then Justin Fields being the new quarterback. Yeah, Justin Fields isn't the greatest option to, throw you the ball for fantasy numbers. But if you look back a couple of seasons ago when Justin Fields was with the Bears and see what he did with DJ Moore. I mean, it's almost the exact same situation. DJ Moore was like the only receiver in that Bears offense, and he had a top 10 fantasy season with Justin Fields throwing in the ball. I think Garrett Wilson is the same talent level, if not more talented than DJ Moore. So I don't see why that can't happen for Garrett Wilson.
Yeah, listen, Garrett Wilson's a great pick this year. A lot of people fade him because of his production last year. That's not the case, man. Like Garrett Wilson still 1,000 yards last year, high-end wide receiver 2, right? You're drafting him as a higher-end wide receiver 2, and I think that's his floor this year. I think that Garrett Wilson has a little bit more upside left in him, especially with no target competition. Could be a guy that hovers over 30% with a run-first offense, which is exactly what we want to see. I'm going to throw 2 guys in here real quick. We have Tyreek Hill entering this list, if I could talk, and then JSN. 2 guys, and JSN's probably going the highest out of any of these guys, and he definitely has an argument for that B tier. I think JSN is going to be a great player in fantasy. A lot of people are down on him thinking, the regression's coming, all this stuff. There's nothing that's telling us that JSN's going to regress. He led the league in slot snaps last year, right? He was incredibly productive towards the end of the season with his target share. Now you get Clint Kubiak, who schemed up a lot of open targets for slot receivers last season. Everything is boding well. And look, I don't know if Sam Darnold's going to be good, right? But he can be good enough to throw the slot guy the ball. That's what I know. Tyreek Hill, on the other hand, he is like a wild card for me. Are we going to get the Tyreek Hill that's locked in what he was 2 years ago and a healthy Tua? that guy's a top 5 wide receiver still. I still believe that. Or we're going to get the Tyreek Hill that didn't necessarily get open as much last year, struggled with drops, wasn't always mentally locked in. I'm not sure what Tyreek Hill are we getting. What do you guys think of these two guys?
I think last year his wrist injury kind of made a big deal with him last year. Nobody able to catch the ball. I think get an athlete like that, and he's got one thing wrong with his game, it's affecting everything else too, because this is how dramatic he is about playing the game. Now with JSN, I think his it's sky's the limit really with him, because there's so many targets that are open now because of them trading DK and Lockett signing with the Titans. So there's so many targets open for him that he's going to be able to move an offense, even if Sam Darnold struggles a little bit. I think he's still going to be peppered with at least double-digit targets.
100%.
I agree. Even if they go to quarterback 2 and Jalen Milroe, I mean, at Alabama, he was incredibly accurate, dynamic as well. So no matter who's throwing him the ball, JSN is going to be able to get something done. Hill also has the added benefit of course, there's been rumors for years, but rumors of him ending up on another team. So if he ends up with a Patty Mahomes again or something like that, his upside could be even crazier.
Yeah, 100%. Let's hop into this D tier. I'm gonna go in here like I did with the last one. Throw a few players in here. Let's get talking about some of these names that I have in the D tier, and I'll start with you, Nick. Your guy Tet McMillan entering the D tier here. What do you think of him entering this group? And I'm going to throw 5 in here because they're teammates.
Absolutely.
What do you think of Tet?
I'm going to tell you first, his mom hates Tet, so now we call him T-Mac or Nalo. So we'll start there. But I think T-Mac is going to be awesome, if I'm going to be honest with you. Incredibly long, incredibly dynamic. Though we've had some concerns in training camp with him versus press coverage, I don't think he's really going to have to be dealing with that a ton at the next level. I do think he's going to be fed akin to Adam Thielen of last year, 100-plus targets, no problem. I do believe he's going to eclipse the 1,000-yard mark, and I do think he's going to break Kelvin Benjamin's rookie record. So I am incredibly high on him. And to be honest, the one thing that a short quarterback needs is a big, tall wide receiver. He just got that in one of the biggest receivers from the draft. So
he's got an elite skill set. He's got size. He's got speed. I'm interested to see what he does at the NFL level. Like, the guy had a 70% plus separation rate against every coverage. Should be really good regardless. Danny, let's have you talk about the Chiefs teammates in Rashee Rice and Xavier Worthy. How are you valuing these guys?
As of right now, probably Worthy's probably the guy ahead right now until we know exactly for sure how many games that Rice may be suspended. Once we figure that out, then we can start figuring, okay, where are we going to put these guys in drafts. But as of right now, I'd probably go Worthy probably at maybe about 3 or 4 spots ahead of Rice. But Rice is actually probably the better talent because he runs that slot that Mahomes loves to feast on. I mean, he's a wide receiver of Travis Kelce basically last year until he got hurt. And that's huge going in this offense with Kelce slowing down a little bit. Worthy's one of those guys who can be a gadget play, but he can also be a big game guy. But Rice is probably the bread and butter guy that once he gets back on the field, that Mahomes is looking for him.
Yeah, every stat we see out of training camp is basically Patrick Mahomes threw 17 passes today. Rashee Rice is like 50% of them basically every day. Like, it's insane. I really wish we could see a full season of Rashee Rice wide receiver 1, but the law is going to catch up to you some point. Steven, talk about DJ Moore and DK Metcalf and what you love about those guys.
Yeah, I'll start with DJ Moore. There's a lot to like, a lot of hype around DJ Moore this season, and most of that is coming because it's year 2 of Caleb Williams, and it's a new offense under Ben Johnson. And we all know Ben Johnson was the mastermind behind that Lions offense. So bringing that in with year 2 of Caleb Williams, if Caleb Williams can take that jump, DJ Moore's his number 1 guy. And it is a loaded receiver room. I do love me some Luther Burden. Rome Odunze's there. Colston Loveland's there. You got some pass-catching running backs as well. But he's the number 1 option. And a number 1 option in that offense is going to do very well for fantasy football. So I see DJ Moore having a strong season. I don't know if he has wide receiver, like top 10 potential. But I do definitely see him being a strong wide receiver too, with a high floor. And then DK Metcalf, he's got insane potential, I think, this season. Kind of like Garrett Wilson, there's not many targets or not many other guys taking targets away from DK Metcalf in that Steelers offense. So, and if Aaron Rodgers were to throw 30 touchdowns, honestly, half of them could go to Metcalf. So Metcalf could easily have a double-digit or even lead the league in touchdowns season with Aaron Rodgers now throwing the ball to him.
Yeah, it's definitely an interesting group right there. Are there any players that you guys want to add before I add some guys? Who else do you think deserves to be in this tier, and tell me why?
Marvin Harrison Jr.
Oh,
Really? You don't like Marvin Harrison? I really love the potential of what he has. Yes, he's low end right now, but to be honest, I think he could be contending with the two wide receivers that are ahead of him right now. I think that he could have one comparable to a worthy season. Even with Rashee Rice, I think Rashee is going to do well. I think Marvin Harrison is just going to be that wide receiver this year in Arizona. I love how he's come into camp. I love the body transformation. I love what I'm seeing out of the training camp videos. I'm all in on Marvin Harrison. And I can't put him in F category. Come on.
listen, I just am so worried because nothing changed with the offense from last year, right? The Cardinals only threw the ball 10.2% of the time deep. Marvin Harrison Jr.'s route tree was among like one of the highest in the NFL in terms of vertical route trees. He just didn't get volume, and he had 0 design passes for him last year. I've said this so many times. Drew Petzing made Marvin Harrison Jr. the most talented decoy in NFL history. That's basically what happened. Trey McBride fits perfectly for Kyler Murray and what he does, and that's why he's great and he's awesome. Fortunately, Marvin Harrison Jr. just is not a part of this offense like he should be, and it just seems like he's capped at a middle wide receiver 2, and he's going as an early wide receiver 2 right now. I just absolutely can't get behind it, but I understand the talent from a pure talent standpoint. I think Marvin Harrison Jr., still, the talent level is there. Not arguing that, but the utilization of Marvin Harrison Jr. stinks. I'm going to stand on that.
Absolutely. You're buying into the potential for sure. Absolutely.
Yeah, and I think I'd rather just invest in guys that upside-wise. I mean, you got a guy like Devontae Adams hanging out over here as part of this group. Another player that I would take over him, I just saw him, and now I'm losing him. Courtland Sutton. Yeah, both these veteran wide receivers, like, listen, Harrison Jr. is going into second year, and obviously guys heading into year 2 and year 3 break out more often at wide receiver. Why not go get a veteran that I know for sure has a little bit more upside on a weekly basis? I think Devontae Adams and Courtland Sutton, despite their ages, have low-end wide receiver 1 point per game upsides. I don't know if they're going to play every game for me, but when they're on the field, they're clearly going to have a significant target share. Even if Adams isn't the wide receiver 1 on his own team, I love what they can do in the red zone, both these guys. I mean, they're just good veterans that I think make more sense than a guy that betting on his potential in a bad situation. Danny or Steven, what do you guys think about it?
I mean, yeah, Devontae Adams, if you didn't say it, I was going to say it. Maybe he's right there in that tier with the rest of these guys, and he honestly has the potential to outperform all of them and, maybe be in that C tier.
Yeah.
He got a bag from the Rams, so they're going to utilize him. And, I mean, it all comes down to Stafford's health. That's the only thing that worries me now. But I'm Stafford's one tough guy, so I'm not too worried about it. And when you think about it, I mean, Adams is going to get fed the ball, and who do you think would have more touchdowns this year in the Rams receiving room, like Puka or Devontae? There's a really, really, really good chance Devontae has more touchdowns than Puka and has a double-digit touchdown season and really develops chemistry with Stafford once you get into that red zone, because Devontae Adams is one of the best, if not the best, red zone receiver of all time, basically. He's one of the best receivers in the red zone. So I expect that to continue. And last year, it wasn't a performance. It wasn't like a tape thing. If you watched him, he still has that boost and juice to just keep dominating some of these quarterbacks.
Danny, what do you think?
Yeah, I like Sutton. Sutton, by the end of the year, he was it a career high, I think, in targets last year with Nix as his quarterback. I mean, Sean Payton's running the offense. They're going to run the ball when they can. They're going to pass to the running backs, but they always have that one receiver that's going to be their key guy, and Sutton's their key guy, and I don't see that changing any. Devontae, like Steven said, he's a target in the red zone. I mean, he's lived that way in his whole career, and I can't see it any changing any different. With Martin Harrison Jr., I have Jerry Jeudy ahead of him, and that's on the Browns offense. That tells you right there. I'm not a big fan of Marvin Harrison either.
100%. What were you going to say, Nick?
Oh, no, I just think that's incredibly interesting. I mean, the one name that we're missing, though, is Terry McLaurin.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was just going to say is Terry McLaurin's our last guy for the D tier. even if he's holding out, I'm going to stay on a hill and say this. Terry McLaurin is not leaving the Commanders. That would be the stupidest move in their ownership, general management group that they could do. They have no wide receivers outside of Terry McLaurin. Deebo Samuel is not a true separator. This offense is going to struggle and regress if Terry McLaurin does not suit up for them. And I don't think they're going to let that happen because that would be the biggest mistake maybe in NFL history is after a year Jaden Daniels has, they just say, yeah, let's get his wide receiver one packing. Smell you, buddy, on a rookie contract. That would be crazy. All right, we have, I want to say 121, 22, 23, 24. We have 7 more guys left. Or no, sorry, we have 36. My bad. We have 11 more guys we could put in this final tier down here. I'm going to start with a few. We already knocked it. Jerry Jeudy in this group as well. We also have a guy. Where is he at? Jacoby Myers. Why don't you talk about those two guys, Danny?
Yeah, Jeudy come off a career year last year with what quarterbacks they had in Cleveland. Now they're getting Joe Flacco. They're like he's going to be the starter. But and if he gets hurt, who knows when to start from because everybody else is hurt behind him. And Shadir's going to start tomorrow or tonight for the Browns. But Joe Flacco's got that veteran attitude about him. He David Njoku became a star 2 seasons ago as a fantasy star. I can't see why Jeudy can't continue doing that. Jacoby Myers, I mean, he's finally got a quarterback now. I mean, he had to do with AOC last year and Gardner Minshew. So he should put out the same numbers he had last year. He had over 80 catches last year, and that shouldn't change this year. I think he may actually have a better year than what Bowers is going to have. I think Bowers is going to regress a little bit because Geno just doesn't throw these tight ends. That's just one of the things that happens, and I think Myers takes advantage of that.
Yeah, listen, I'm all for the Jacoby Myers, Jerry Jeudy hype trains. I think their situations are built for their success this year, which is something you can't say for them last year, and they produced very well. I'm going to throw 2 more guys. I'm going to send this one to Steven. Devonta Smith finally finding his way onto the tier list, and another vet, Stephon Diggs. Talk to me about those two.
Yeah, this is actually kind of funny because, I mean, Devonta Smith, like we were saying with A.J. Brown, the situation's not the greatest. This is a run-first offense, and being the number 2 receiver on a run-first offense usually does not spell fantasy success for anybody.
No.
But Devonta Smith is one of those guys where he is uber talented, and that this is a situation where you're drafting the talent because the talent will eventually prevail, and that's what Devonta Smith does. I mean, his upside is capped in this offense, being the number 2 option behind A.J. Brown, and then really the number 3 option in the offense behind Saquon as well. So he's going to have his weeks, but his upside is a little capped, but the talent is there. Just believe in the talent, and the points will come eventually. And then Stephon Diggs, it's kind of the opposite. I mean, Diggs is talented, but he's the number 1 guy in that offense. He should be with Drake May. Hopefully he develops into that safety net target and just gets fed targets from Drake May this upcoming year. So yeah, both guys I think are solid wide receiver 2s, maybe in your flex, a strong flex option for this upcoming year.
Yeah, listen, I think Stephon Diggs especially has a great opportunity. He's basically been a wide receiver 2 or higher almost every year over the past decade. Really good sign there. I know the injuries are concerning, but the value makes a ton of sense where he's getting drafted. Like he's a wide receiver 4 right now, and he genuinely has wide receiver 2 upside. So that is a good pick. Devonta Smith, you know what you're going to get. You're not going to get wide receiver 1 upside. You're not going to get a guy that's going to be middle tier wide receiver 3. He's going to basically be a low end wide receiver 2 on a weekly basis. Are you willing to pay for that? Just what you kind of are looking for with your team. The next guys I'm going to throw in here are Zay Flowers, Khalil Shakir, Jordan Addison, yuck, and then Calvin Ridley. As far as these guys go, Flowers is in a similar situation to what Devonta Smith is. Run first offense. They're basically capped at where they are. Flowers has never been over a wide receiver 3 in his career, but he's always drafted as a wide receiver 2, which is a little bit of a good note. That's why I'm fading him in a lot of drafts. Doesn't necessarily have wide receiver 1 upside just based on the offense itself. Khalil Shakir is in a similar situation, super high floor with him, high ankle sprain, a little bit worried about that heading into the year. Jordan Addison suspended 3 games. He's an arguable guy for the D tier when he's on the field just because of how good this Vikings offense can be when Addison and Jefferson are healthy. And we saw Addison dominate towards the end of the year last year. Calvin Ridley, Cam Ward's number one target right there. Really, really solid group of guys. And we only have 4 more names left to put in here. What is a name that each of you guys want to throw in this final tier?
Matthew Golden.
Wow. Wow. We had no, listen. I said what name? It's up to you guys. And we're throwing Matthew Golden in there.
Matthew Golden has so much potential, but so has every other Packers wide receiver. He's either going to become Devontae Adams, or he's the next guy. He's Jalen Reed. The health is a concern. All these other things are concerned for Packers wide receivers. The only one of merit from the last 5 years or 10 years for me is Devonta Adams, who is currently a Los Angeles Ram. So for me, Golden needs to absolutely show me, and I understand he's in the same draft class as guys like Emeka Egbuka, Travis Hunter, Teteroa McMillan, everything like that. I would fade Golden over all of them.
Listen, I will say this about Golden being in this F tier instead of off the list is that Golden has played with the first team and he's played a majority of snaps already, which is a great sign for him producing. He has the speed, he has the talent. I'm interested to see if he develops the route tree the NFL requires, but I think that being with Matt LaFleur helps him a ton heading into the year. So definitely a high upside pick for sure. Steven, let's go to you next. Who are you putting in here?
I just got to say, Matthew Golden, I like you picking your guy, but just seeing number 22 on a receiver already means he's off my board. That just doesn't look right. But a guy that looks right when he's on the field is Chris Olave. So he's going to be my guy here. He's really grown on me as well. Another guy where he's just going to get fed targets if he stays on the field. Injuries are concerned. He's probably one hit away from, joining Tua in a retirement home, unfortunately. But when he's on the field, he's electric. I mean, it just seems like it was last year he was being drafted with the T. Higgins, the JSNs, in that C tier category. And if he stays on the field, that's the only thing holding him back. He's going to get fed targets. He's uber talented. They're going to be behind so many games with passing game scripts. So Chris Olave has a path to, finish as probably he can easily finish as a top 20 receiver just based off of pure volume. So getting him where you're getting him this year it's baked into the injury concern. So if he stays healthy, that could be a great value pick this year.
Yeah, he also hates New Orleans right now in his current quarterback situation, if you guys haven't seen that. But yeah, Chris Olave, great player. We'll see what happens with this situation. And he's definitely going at a value because of that. Danny, who is your last guy?
Jalen Waddle. I mean, if the offense can get back to what it was a couple seasons ago, I mean, both him and Tyreek Hill could eat. And then there's also the opportunity with Tyreek having to get traded. Waddle steps in being the number one guy in that offense, and they're going to scheme up to get him open on plays. I mean, that's what they did last few years with him. But when Tua got hurt with his concussions, they kind of limited the downfield throws. That hurts both him and Hill a little bit because of their speed. But Waddle's just one of those guys. He can run the short routes and be effective enough that he could slide in and be a solid low-end number 2, or if Hill would get traded, he could possibly slide in and be a late or wide receiver 12 or as the season goes on. It just really depends on the situation and how they're going to run their offense this year.
100%. The most interesting part about this list is that Nick went on a speech about Jameson Williams, and he's not even going to make the top 36 wide receivers.
Nope. I went with the consensus. We don't even have a Colts wide receiver up here.
We're not going to, because George Pickens is still available, and George Pickens is my highest rated receiver in the whole F tier. I mean, this guy is going to be productive this season. Listen, the Cowboys are going to have to throw the ball in an insane amount. Dak Prescott over the past few seasons has ranked top 5 in terms of pass attempts. George Pickens entering an offense with a backfield of Javonte Williams, Miles Sanders, Jaden Blue, and they're going to utilize him all over the field. It's not just like he's going to be stuck in the outside like he was in Pittsburgh. George Pickens is an absolute steal. I don't know why more people are just not buying into him, probably because of the Pittsburgh stuff. George Pickens is going to be a great fantasy football player this year, and he's one of my favorite players to throw in my flex spot after getting 2 of these guys ahead of him, and then I feel like I'm really set at the receiver position for the year. Ultimately, though, that is our list here. We'll take a look full screen right here with our tier list. Obviously, the S tier is the most exclusive group. A is right behind it. The B tier seems like a The most exclusive group is guys borderline A and B, C tier, and then D tier, and then the F tier. Guys, how do you think this tier list went?
I think it went well. I think everything looks pretty much like my rankings. Few differences here and there. The only thing I don't like is just seeing a 22 on a wide receiver jersey list.
I had to put Golden out there for you, man.
Listen, there's a bunch of sleepers I didn't even get to put on this list, and I don't like that. But I think a lot of the players in the top 36 are similar to what I would have in the top 36. These guys come with different strengths and weaknesses, guys that don't necessarily have high upside, high floors, and guys that could be a boomer bust type option. Danny, how do you feel about some of these boomer bust type options or the higher floor guys? Which guys do you plan on targeting more?
Well, of course, I'm targeting anybody from Atlanta, so I'm definitely Drake London. But look at the lower tier guys. I like Shakir, but of course he's got the ankle injury right now. He's one of those guys. He's not going to, if once he's healthy, he's not going to give you. He'll give you that one breakout game, but he won't give you anything that'll hurt you fantasy wise. He's a great flex starter. He give you 10, 12 points every game. There's another guy we kind of didn't mention. We didn't mention anybody from San Francisco, and Jennings is one of those guys that we didn't mention that could sneak in there too. If it depends how the offense is running. If CMC is able to stay healthy, that hurts him a little. But if he gets hurt again and they relying, or Grinda is actually hurt as well right now, that they may have to go to a passing thing, and that offense could explode with those guys at receiver.
100%. It's definitely going to be very fascinating. If you enjoyed these tier rankings, drop a comment down below which guys you would have had up a tier or down a tier. Let us know. Make sure you hit that subscribe button for more Blitz fantasy football content. And us four will catch you guys next time.